If you're gonna do anything in life, do it with a full heart. Give it everything you've got and don't look back no matter what happens. There'll be good days, there'll be bad days, there'll be days you doubt yourself, there'll be days that the people around you, well, they're gonna doubt you too. There'll be days where the people around you ask you why you're doing what you're doing. Hold that full heart, hold that focus, remind yourself who the fuck you are, and keep pushing. Don't worry if it doesn't always look good. Don't worry if it doesn't always look pretty. Things will get better. I've sat on both sides of the fence. I've stood on the start line of an Olympic Games. But I've stared at the bottom of an empty glass of whiskey looking for answers, looking for something. But I missed out on fun. But I missed out on the parties. But I missed out on the social life. I've sat on both sides of that fence, and let me tell you, there is no greater rush in the world than when you know you poured your heart and soul into something. Don't be afraid to fail. Just keep fighting. Don't give up. Remember who you are and keep moving forward.
Alright, so how the format's going to work today is I'm giving myself 60 seconds. I might stretch it to 90. We'll see how we get on. But I have 60 seconds to answer some of your questions. They've came from the comments on previous videos. I don't always get back to the comments, or sometimes I just think they need a bit more detail. So some of these questions have come from you guys. If you want some of your questions answered in future, comment below. How this will work is in future, whichever comments have the most likes, I'll then answer those questions. Then I know what you want rather than what me or Noble thinks is useful. So let's get into some of these questions while I get the rest of the warm-up done.
What would you suggest taking during a marathon? Carbs, sodium, etc., to sustain energy? Thank you.
Okay, wow, 60 seconds. During a marathon, you can absorb between 60 to 80 grams of carbs per hour. I like to take that in More10. The reason I take More10 is because they kind of sponsor me. They'll give me free stuff if I ask, but it genuinely is the best product. And so I use More10 because whatever science and evolution they've put into their product, it sits on the stomach better. In terms of sodium, you can do a quick salt test where you can go train in the heat, or you can go train normally at the end of the run, lick your arm. If it's really salty, you'll lose quite a bit of sodium. You might need to add a little bit of pinch of salt to your More10, but a lot of these carbohydrate products have sodium in them. So just check that, but sodium to stop the muscles from cramping, More10 to fuel the marathon, to get your carbohydrates, your 60 to 80 grams per hour, 10 seconds. And if you're out there for quite a long time, in Doha, I had to mix hydration and carbohydrates. So at one of the drinks tables was purely about carbohydrate, at the other drinks table was just about hydration. Both are very important.
That was pretty good, actually. Next question. During a marathon taper, do you cut specific percentage of volume each week, 2 to 3 weeks out, or do you just go by how you feel?
Okay, interesting. So I touched on this last time, but to be more specific in terms of percentages, if I've had the optimum build up, well then what I'm looking to do is with 3 weeks to go, the training stays pretty much the same. With 2 weeks to go, I'm going to start to lower the volume a little bit, but I keep the frequency of training, so how many times per day, and the intensity the same. How I'll reduce the volume will be, instead of like a 12-mile run on a Wednesday, it might be a 10-mile run. Instead of 8 times 20-second hills on a Thursday or a Monday, it's 6. In that final week, I'm starting to reduce it much further. And so the volume's coming down. I'm gonna contradict myself here a little bit. In the last 2 weeks, the most important thing is to get your body ready. If you have injuries, reduce it completely. Better to rest for 2 weeks to get the body completely ready. If everything's perfect, you can keep it the same, only reduce it slightly. 2 weeks to go, reduce it to 80%. That final week, reduce it down to about 65%. Get the body healthy, because fitness won't fuck you up on race day. your hamstring not being in a great place will fuck you up on race day. If you need to reduce it significantly to get your body in a good place, do it.
75 ain't even bad. Next one. How many main or big races would you do in a year, and how do you train between them? i.e., do you ease off greatly and build back up again?
Okay, two things. You might want to ease off greatly if your psychology needs it. It varies. If you've had a really good build-up and if you've had a really good race, understand that that will have taken a lot out of your body physically and a lot out of your body mentally. You might need a bit more recovery. This is so interchangeable depending on how did the build-up go, how did the race go. If the race didn't go very well, for example, and perhaps you had to drop out of that race, well, you probably don't need a super long recovery period. It's also variable. My race structure in the perfect world would be train for 5K or 10K, go run a 5K and a 10K PB, then put a 3 to 4 month marathon block in place, knock out a half marathon in the build-up just to see where we're at, knock out a really good marathon, run a big personal best, then take a month off. Hopefully I've done that 12 months before a major championships, and then have a lot of time to prepare for that major championships. The ideal world doesn't always work out, and sometimes you have to tweak things so that you maybe chase a qualifying standard somewhere else. It depends how things go. Don't get drawn into marathon. Come back to 5K, 10K. Work with your brain. Does your brain need a rest? Are you motivated? Are you not motivated? Did you try in your recent build-up? Did you think you were trying but you weren't really trying? Think about what your brain and body physically needs.
Honestly, not bad. We got there. Could you talk about which shoes you use in a typical week of training?
Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so shoe rotation depends on where I'm training, how I'm training. I'm gonna have a shoe that I like to wear for like a fast long run. I don't want it to be a super shoe, but it can be like still a fast enough shoe so it's lightweight, it feels good, it feels sexy, I like to put it on. Then I have shoes that, this is the people have forgotten, I think people have forgotten this. People forget that you're supposed to, on an everyday basis, wear the shoe that's gonna keep you healthy, not the shoe that makes you fast. This is to keep you healthy. And so you're supposed to go get tested, get your gait analysis tested, do you overpronate, are you a neutral runner, etc., etc. Not everybody wants to wear super shoes every day. I'm also going to wear super shoes in the build-up because I need my quads and my legs to get ready for what they're going to handle on race day, so I don't end up with sore parts of my body on race day because I didn't try them. I rotate about 4 to 5 pair of shoes. If it's muddy out, if it's soaking wet out, you need 2 pair of shoes in case your pair of shoe gets soaked. If it's going to be snowy, muddy, etc., you might need a trail shoe. Yeah, I literally might not want to go for a run, and then I have a pair of shoes that I like so much, I'm like, I'll go run, I like that shoe. Rotate it, work with different shoes. I've also been told different shoes put different signals through your body, and so you land in one pair of shoe, it puts one signal through your body. It's good to rotate your shoes. It builds different strength in different areas, and don't be afraid to take the super shoes off and wear regular shoes. And just remind yourself, some days running sucks and it's hard work without those super shoes on.
Wow, nailed it. Is it best to dance around the threshold range itself, or do I improve just as fast running at a lower heart rate?
Okay, so you still get aerobic benefits from running below threshold, but if we're taking this question into an actual threshold session, for example, which is how I'll answer this question, I was told threshold is let's say you're doing 30 minutes at threshold. I'm not suggesting you do 30 minutes at threshold. That could be 6 times 5 minutes, doesn't matter, 30 minutes. How I would break that up if I was doing 30 minutes in one go would be 10 minutes at, for example, 10 beats below threshold heart rate. Then I would do the middle 10 minutes about 5 beats below threshold heart rate. And then I would do the final 10 minutes right at threshold. As I get closer to races, so let's say that was 12 weeks out from a race, 8 weeks out from a race, 6 weeks out from a race, as I get closer to the race, in that final block, I might even push it above threshold, just to be like, hey, you know what, body physically and brain, we can push a bit harder here. You can get too comfortable sometimes psychologically with that easier, comfortable effort. Sometimes it's good to just be like, hey, let's show ourselves that we can drive on from this. If you can't drive on from that, you've missed something in training or you were running your threshold too hard.
Crushed it, ding! Last one from the audience. Hypothetically, If you were to run a marathon next week, Stephen, I'm curious what you think your finishing time would be.
God damn.
Best for last, man.
What could I run for a marathon next week? I'm gonna say probably 2:16. Yeah, probably about 2:16. I'm gonna complain a lot on this YouTube channel and say I'm not very fit, I'm not very this. I'm pretty fit. I was still out there mountain biking 80 minutes, 90 minutes. 2:16, between 2:16 and 2:20 for sure. If I was smart and I went off at 2:20 pace, then I'd probably be able to pick it up in the later stages of the races. If I was arrogant and went for 2:15, 2:16, I might fall apart and run 2:25. Marathon's really hard, but I just know I'm a bit of a tank. This is what I'm best at. I'm best at when I haven't been training fully, at still being pretty damn good at it. If ever there was a, are you born to run? I realized I was born to run in those moments where I haven't trained a lot and I'm like, how have you not trained a lot? How can you be 8 to 10 pounds overweight, but you're still able to do that? But don't get me wrong, it takes me a long time to get into that really, really good shape. But I'm gonna say between 2:16 and 2:18, if I was smart, if I had a good course, if I had the super shoes on, yeah, I'd knock it out. All right. So, if you watched the previous video, I took that shirt off. I needed to get in that hustle mindset. Today, it's the opposite. What's happening out there today is you're having to swallow your pride, humble your ego. I wanted to go quicker. I could go quicker. The problem with heart rate tracking and lactate tracking, they're humbling and they expose you if you go out there and you push too hard and you work too hard. And so bottom line is I just did 10 by K, kept that lactated. It was 2.7, it should have been 2. It was 2.7 because in the first 3 to 4 reps, if we look at the max heart rate, probably 167, 168, it was too high. So basically I was fucking about. I needed to swallow my pride and I needed to just accept that the fitness is improving. It is getting to a better place, but it's taking its time. Let's let this car go.
Yeah.
So look, the fitness is improving. I came down here 3 weeks ago. I'll try to show you a little clip of that if I can. I did a session with the ladies. We averaged probably something similar, but I think my lactate was 3.8 maybe. So look, it's dropped 1 millimole in, what is that, 2.5 weeks? But sometimes we're greedy. Humans, athletes, we like to push that boundary. I'm literally not just using the lactometer to expose myself if I push too hard, I'm exposing myself to all of YouTube. And so I have to swallow the pride, bring the pace back down, bring the heart rate back down. It's humbling, it's upsetting. But the reason you run at these intensities is because you get more benefit by slowing down. So tell that pride and ego to shut the fuck up, slow it down, do it at the right effort, who cares? Better to be able to go slower and get more benefit. Let this car go. You go that little bit slower, you actually get more benefit for what today is supposed to be. I pushed probably a little bit too hard on Monday, and so I'm probably hurting a bit today, but things are progressing. Things are progressing lovely. I averaged 331. What was it, a week ago? A week and a half ago? 331. I've literally just dropped 12 to 13 seconds. Yes, we're at a slightly lower altitude, but that is huge. The body's moving better, it's feeling better. Start to be grateful for tiny improvements and don't be greedy for some of those big, rich improvements. They will come, trust me. Just accept the process, trust the process. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed that. Give me some love, like, subscribe. I hope you enjoy the content. Give me some ideas below if you'd like other things copied, or other things, sorry, covered. And yeah, I appreciate it. It's a lot easier for me getting out there doing this hard work, knowing that I've got an army of people that are really excited about this journey with me. So thank you so, so much. Reward yourself, be proud of yourself. You're working hard. Stop beating yourself up and have a great week.